Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Wow. I usually say I don't know which is the worst time, being right before lunch or right at coffee time, because at both times there's food or coffee in mine. So I'm hoping everybody's got their fill. For those of you who haven't seen me speak or something, I'm Jigisha Depp, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Microsoft. And my big focus is making sure that the newly released Forms Pro as I can share the love and the excitement around Forms Pro with all of you over here in the audience. And with me today, my co-presenter is Arjun from the R&D team. Arjun.
Good afternoon. My name is Arjun. I'm the program manager on Forms Pro.
Okay. And together, what we're going to do is obviously help understand how to build a very customer and data-driven experience management solution for your company or for your customer's company. Thank you, Arjun. We're on time, so it's just great. Very quickly, what we want to walk through is the typical challenges that customers have shared with us on what they find when they're trying to do just not get, like, it's one thing to send a survey, but how do you truly create a customer experience management solution? So what is it that they're experiencing with that? We'll give an introduction to Forms Pro. We will be doing a demo as well on that. When I say we, Arjun will be doing a brilliant job with that. And I might nudge him. And then we'll also talk about what's new. So we'll get into the polling in a second and talk about the favorite topic sometimes people have, which is pricing. We have some really cool customer videos as well to share with you to just show you how customers actually using this today to drive the vision of improving their customer experience. All right? Thank you. So before I move on, I just wanted to kind of get a quick show of hands on how many people are using Microsoft Forms. Awesome. Great. Some aren't. But most of you are. Great. How many of you are using or know about Forms Pro? All right. And the rest of you, I'm guessing, are here to kind of learn more about Forms Pro. What is it? How is it different? Or how do I use this better? And you'd like to see a demo? Yes, I see a lot of nods. I see a lot of nods. Great, thank you. So then this is perfect. We did have a session, by the way, 2 days ago, in which we kind of high-level talked about Forms versus Forms Pro, and it was very purposely chosen versus, but truly in our mind, it is Forms and Forms Pro, and how do you use the two in different scenarios. We covered that. You will be able to find the recording as well. But I wanted to take a second and also acknowledge we've got Wenjin, do you want to get up and just introduce? So we've also got the Forms PM and team as well, the R&D team over here. So if you have any questions very specific to Forms, we can absolutely get those answered as well offline. Just want to make sure that you have that opportunity in case you want to have connections on Forms Pro, but you also have questions on Forms. We brought them here just for you. Perfect. Let's go to the next one. I want to kind of now just set stage on what we heard honestly over here. Is we've heard from customers that, or consumers, that 79% of them want to be treated with personalized touch points, with making sure that they get the kind of sales touches that they are expecting or the feedback solutions that they're expecting. And typically, I don't know about you guys, but I have multiple times found that when I go into something I've just purchased and the next ad or email or promotion or offer has nothing to do with what I've done. Obviously, it's getting much, much better nowadays with AI. But if you notice, a lot of it is, I may have bought a backpack. And they'll then next send me something very much irrelevant, like a dress as my next option. Is there a correlation? Maybe, based on what they've seen in the past, that somebody who buys a backpack buys a dress. Great, awesome, but that's not where I see the relevance. So customers want to be able to not just be sold what's relevant, but also, based on my experience, whether I said, hey, was it a good experience, then promoting me, or coming back to me and following up with some feedback. And 48% of the businesses say they understand the need for branding. They understand the need for personalization. However, 45 or 46% of them say the big reason why they can't deliver is truly because they have data silos. So they're not able to see what was sold or to whom or how, and how do we bring that back into our system so we can help them with that better experience throughout their journey as a customer with us. And 72% of them actually say that they're not able to just not take that data, but make sense out of that data and find the analysis, the trends, the sentiments that are coming across post-purchase or post-experience, whatever the touch points were. So net, what's holding people back in terms of business is three things that we were able to categorize. One, businesses are finding it difficult to create and send surveys to the right people at the right time within the right channels that they interact with. They're also not able to take the data or the feedback and put it into their business systems to make more sense out of it and keep that data or that information back into their system so that in the future, when they connect, they have that history sitting right there when they're interacting next time. And the third thing is, again, going back to those challenges that people talked about, is I have all the data, I'm not able to make sense out of it. And I think Satya mentioned that 72% of the data is not even utilized after it's being collected. This would be a classic case. Great, we sent a survey, we got feedback. Someone in some department were able to see some of the information. They kind of created 2 or 3 pivot charts based on the points they were using. They didn't even use the rest of it, which is kind of a shame and a loss. And that's why we've introduced Forms Pro in July. For those of you who already raised your hand, you've probably seen this and heard it. So we raised it in July, released it in July, and we went GA for that in 239 regions and 96 languages to mainly take care of those 3 things. Building very easy to use surveys, being able to take that data and bring it back into your business solution and business applications where you can make that impact, and take that data, utilize AI, trends, information to be able to make that next big decision making. Perfect. This is kind of like a nice summary view of saying, so with Forms Pro, what you can do is really build the simplified surveys. And because it uses the same technology of Forms, you've all seen it and used it, it's right easy, but you also get with that the integration with the Office solutions, like with SharePoint, with PowerPoint, with Excel, and also with Teams. But what you also get in addition, and which is great with Forms, you're able to do the basics stuff, is also you're able to do seamless integration with Dynamics 365, all the solutions, whether it's with the sales, with customer service, with marketing, so able to pull the lists that are sitting in your CRM system, in your marketing systems. And because it also comes along with Flow, or now called Power Automate, otherwise I'll have to pay $5 somewhere over there in the jar. So Power Automate, Power Apps, and take that data sitting on the same data system and bring, not just send from using that data system, but also bring it back and attach it to those solutions. And then with the out-of-the-box reporting that you get with Forms Pro, you're able to not just see the Power BI reporting that's out of the box, you're able to see insights, and with the AI technology that sits behind it, you can actually see the trends, the sentiment, the analysis that is done for you to say, okay, these are the typical words that people use in the text boxes, which is really great. And I don't want to take too much time, because what you'll see is my words will make a lot more sense when Arjun shows you in the demo. Arjun's actually going to do some of this demo with the scenarios. Sure. So thank you, Arjun. Take it away.
Thanks, Jigisha. So what I'll do is I'll actually talk about where Jigisha has left off with respect to the business needs, where business users really want to ground. Can you guys hear me right? Okay.
Can you all hear him at the back? Perfect.
Yeah. So business users really have a need to ground themselves up with respect to getting insights and data from customers. So having a data-driven scientific methodology of gathering customer data, being able to analyze the data, and also derive and utilize this for business needs is where the current challenges that Jigish has articulated. And what we're trying to do with Forms Pro is make it easier to gather, analyze, and utilize the customer data that is obtained for business needs. So what I'll do is I'll walk through 3 different personas as a survey author, as a survey responder, and a business user on how one is going to use Forms Pro, and talk through a particular scenario end-to-end and show you how the experience is going to look like. So I'll quickly switch to the demo.
Yep, I see it.
So from the previous call of hands, I've seen that most of the folks have at least familiar with Forms. So when a user logs into Forms Pro, the interface is pretty similar to what Forms experience is. So it except for that you would see a Forms Pro logo on the top and an option to create a new survey with the new Pro survey. So right now I'm a survey author. So I've clicked on creating a new survey, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a title of Customer Satisfaction Survey. And I'm going to use a fictitious company called Tailspin Toys for this scenario, where I'm trying to send a customer satisfaction survey for this. Now, the minute I hit the add option, I got recommended a list of questions depending upon the survey title. So these questions are actually coming up based upon what the title I've chosen. So if I went ahead and made something like an employee satisfaction survey, then the list of questions that appear are tuned to what the survey title was. So I'll go back and change it to have it called out as a customer satisfaction survey. Now, from the suggested recommendations, what you would see is I can pick which are the questions I want to leverage for creating this survey. So with a 2-click option, I was able to add these questions onto my survey. Right? If I were to add more questions, I can click on the custom, the add button, which lets me pick additional questions. So let me just go ahead and add an additional, maybe a multiple choice question where, how do you want to do the options, right? I'll just leave it right there. Now, I'm pretty much done designing a survey by just a couple of clicks, right? So a quick pop quiz is, if I want to make this survey contextualized where it's not going to be same for everybody, but if I want to tune the survey based upon the survey responses so that the questions branch differently to each respondent. So there's a capability that we call it as branching. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the question, which is number 2, to be hidden, so that by default, when somebody opens up this survey, I want this to be hidden. And I want this question to appear only when somebody's picking a rating less than like 9, right? So I clicked on the survey branching option, which launches the branching editor, which is a capability of Forms Pro. And I'm going to name this as a show hide question.
And while you're typing that, what you're seeing over here is essentially making sure it's personalization or also making it relevant. If somebody's already said, hey, we are not happy with what you've said, don't keep telling them how much would you recommend us, how would you do this, et cetera, and torture them because they're really not happy.
Yep.
What you could do is make sure, how do you take care of them?
Sure. So I've chosen the question, which is how likely are you going to recommend? If the value is less than 9, I want to show the question. So you can actually have multiple options of either showing the question, hiding the question, or navigating to a different location altogether. So navigating is either I could go to the end of the survey, go to a different section of the survey, or I can redirect to a URL too. So in my setup, I'm going to show the question, please share additional comments. And if the value was greater than 9, which is the default value where I want to hide that question. There you go. I'm done. Right now, when I roll this survey out, I really want to understand how would the experience look like for the end user. So I'm going to click on the preview tab right there, which lets me look at the 2 questions that I added in the runtime. Now, when I were to click on, say, 8, you would see that the branched question appears. Right? I can do the same on how it's going to appear on a mobile device. So I'm fairly confident now that I created a survey. I know in different form factors it's going to look differently, right? And this gives me a bare minimal survey to distribute. Now, I don't have to create a survey and distribute in the same session. If I were to click on the home page, I can actually see that the survey is saved on my home page. So what I'm going to do is I want to really go make it look like an enterprise or a business survey, right? So some things that stand apart for an enterprise scenario is how do I go make it branded, which is I want to add a logo, which is going to call about what this survey is going to be. So I picked up the survey title, and there are multiple ways I can actually upload an image. I can either go pick up from Bing. If an image is available on OneDrive, I can go choose it. I'm going to pick something that's available on my local machine that's available on here. And once I upload the logo, while it's uploading.
So while it's uploading, we just had a conversation with one customer, and they said it was an airline company, and they said they typically do surveys at the airport. I'm like, so how do you distinguish yourself? And like, do you do branding? Do you do personalization? Do you do any kind of thing? Like, no. So how do people know if they're responding to your airlines, or are they assuming it's an airport survey question? And they're like, good question. We don't always get that kind of feedback. So this is a great way of making sure that you're standing out and that your brand, your company, your logo is there before they're even responding.
Sure. It's spinning for some reason, but let it continue. What else I can do with that is I can actually make it personalized for the end user. So what you're seeing here is that I'm putting in variables such as first name, where when I distribute this survey, it automatically gets resolved to the respondent. I can also bring in context. For example, if I were to pick a particular product, where if this survey is sent in that context of either a business process which is going to be related to the survey, the variable automatically gets resolved, right? So I'll let you hold the thought for that when I come to explain how that's going to work. So with this way, I actually have a logo with a bunch of variables that I've added, and I can start distributing the survey for a list of recipients. So when I click on the send button, what you see are the various modes of distributing a survey, which is an embedded email editor, which I can use from Forms Pro with Microsoft Power Automate. This is going to be rebranded pretty soon from Flow. Also, I can embed this survey in HTML so that it natively can take context from the HTML web page and respondents can respond to that. I can share this survey as a link so that I could either put it in a URL, or I could just pass it on a different email channel. Or for an event like this, I can paste it as a QR code and put it somewhere on a paper where people can click with on the phone and then take the survey. So what I'll do is I'll quickly click on the email editor and show you the functionality of how the surveys can be distributed. So what you see here is a rich text HTML editor where I can start distributing this survey. For example, if I were to go pick up respondents for this survey, where I can choose to say contacts. Now, as Jigisha was mentioning, that Forms Pro is available for being able to connect from Outlook and also for Dynamics. The power of being able to pull contacts from both these systems is visible right there, where I just picked up JI, and all you see are contacts that are coming in from Dynamics 365, which are these two contacts, and Jigisha, who is my Outlook contact. So I can actually pick up folks from either of the system. And if you have created distribution lists in Outlook, or if you've created contacts lists in Dynamics, I can actually bring those views right within from this editor. So the VIP customers is a list of my customer contacts in Dynamics 365, where I can actually use them to distribute this survey. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to put myself as a respondent, where I'll be playing a role of Alex Wilbur. So I'll choose to send this survey to Alex Wilbur, right? Now, I want to increase the engagement. As a survey author, my prime responsibility is not just distribute the survey to as many respondents as possible, but I want to get the maximum number of responses back, because the more amount of data I get, I can derive a lot more richer customer insight from the data, right? So what Forms Pro provides is some capabilities to enable engagement for the user. The things that you saw where I can actually put customized variables, make it a lot more personalized, creates stickiness to the survey. But when I send out an email, I want users to engage with an email, right? So what I can do is I can embed the first question of the survey within the email itself, where a minute a respondent receives the survey, we've noticed that the engagement and click-through ratio of people clicking on, taking, and submitting the survey is extremely high, right? Second thing that I want to do is I want to, again, personalize this, where I want to send this to say, hey, dear Alex, please provide your feedback, right? Now, the third thing is the user is engaged, right? So that means he's actually clicked on the survey, but we really want him to go finish the survey. We want him to complete the survey, right? So what's possible with Forms Pro is there's an option right now limited to United States is to provide survey incentives, right? So in partnership with Microsoft Rewards, What happens is when a survey respondent receives a survey which is ticked to offer incentives, then when they submit the response, they get a redemption code where they can be part of the monthly sweepstakes to win a Surface Pro 2, right? So this way, it enables them not to just engage, but also incentivizes the respondents to complete a survey. So I'll go ahead and just send this survey out, right? So a couple of clicks, I was able to create a survey, branch it, brand it, customize and personalize it, and even send it out, right?
And were you able to add the unsubscribe survey link and all that too?
I think that's a good point. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to talk about some elements about what's possible with respect to the survey. So if you were to just send a vanilla survey with a link in it, right? For example, I don't want to embed a question in the survey, but I want to really put a link in the survey, and I want to send it to, let me just go back, and I want to actually send it to, say, Alex again. Right. Now, what I really want as a survey author is to know whether the email has been received by the respondent. Mm-hmm. Did he really start the survey? Has he completed the survey, or did he look at my email, right? So what's available today is being able to let the users know that they have been successfully delivered the email. And what we're adding a capability in December is being able to track whether the email has been viewed by the respondent and did he start the survey. So these two are going to come up next month. And that's possible by creating a personalized link. So if I were to send this survey to more than one respondent, each of these respondents are going to get a unique URL. That way, it's easier to track on who is responding to the survey and how are they engaging with the survey that was sent out. Also, for a business user, it's really important where there could be multiple people reaching out to the customer, and if the customers are providing their choice or preference to unsubscribe and not be part of those surveys, so there's a capability to unsubscribe through embedding, inserting an unsubscribe link, which is already available by default, where if this email goes out to, say, Alex, and if Alex chooses to unsubscribe, if anybody else in your organization who is going to send to Alex, Forms Pro is going to do the pre-check and make sure that we honor the customer's choice and not spam them. So that's a really important feature that we thought would empower organizations to be, customer friendly.
That's been a question that's been asked quite a few times in the past few days, so we want to make sure that you know that there is a way to unsubscribe for the customers, and so you can actually send it out without getting into issues. Privacy, compliance obviously are part of the Dynamics platform, or just in general with Microsoft, so you get that as part of it too.
Yep.
Sure.
So the Forms
Do you want to repeat the question so that?
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to repeat the question. So the question is, when a customer unsubscribes, the unsubscribe preference is stored in Dynamics or a specific database or entity in CRM, in Forms Pro. So the answer is the latter. It's stored in a specific entity called unsubscribe entity in Forms Pro. And if you choose to connect your Forms Pro environment to Dynamics, it actually is available in Dynamics too.
And you can customize the language that you want to store in there. So every company has their own unsubscribe, legal,
list
list that you can add to it.
Right.
We'll get to that one. He's going to show you.
Right. So I'll just quickly touch upon that. The integration is seamless with Dynamics, but if you don't use Dynamics 365, we still honor that because it's going to be stored in Forms Pro's native entities. So when you unsubscribe, we still look at that and make sure we don't actually spam the user.
Perfect.
Right. And so what you saw is a manual way of distributing the survey.
Offer survey so that goes out.
Sorry?
The offer survey link to show. That's okay.
Yeah. So what you saw is a manual way of sending a survey, right? Which is, it's okay, but what if you want to really embrace automation? Like if you want to look at your business process where if somebody is qualifying a lead or if he's fulfilling an order and you want to send a post-order completion survey, which is automated, right? Where your business users don't even know that the survey has been sent out, but they really want to get insights out of it. Right? So that's possible by integration with Power Automate, erstwhile Microsoft Flow, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Configure Flow option here. And what you're seeing are some of the very frequently used templates that are published, where you can choose to send a survey when a case is resolved in Dynamics, or a lead is qualified in Dynamics 365, or if a user creates a custom Power App and at a click of a button you want to send a survey, or when an order is fulfilled in Dynamics, or case is closed in Salesforce, right? These are the 5 out-of-box templates that are available, but obviously you can go and create a net new flow right within with a full embedded experience right within Forms Pro, and choose several of the flow connectors to create the connection. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go and configure a flow, and I'll show you how easy it is. And I want to send this because I picked up a product feedback survey, so I want to send when an order is fulfilled, and I just chose the order fulfillment template, and I click the flow, and there you go, I'm done, right? So now when anybody goes into Dynamics 365 and qualifies an order, it triggers the survey automatically to this customer, right? Or any customer that's part of the order. All right, so I created a survey, I distributed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Alex Wilbur. So I'm the respondent, right? So since I've sent a survey, I just received the product feedback survey in my email. And if you see, all of those variables that I've put in have been resolved, where it says, Dear Alex, and how do you rate, and had the parenthesis product, which was the Robomon toy I purchased. And I'm going to say, OK, I love the toy, so I'm going to click on it, right? What you see is my response from the email is carried forward into the browser, and I can actually provide a textual comment that the experience has been wonderful, right? Now, what if I'm not a native English speaker, right? Now, I can actually go and choose to pick a different language. And what I did earlier was when I was authoring the survey, I translated it into 2 different languages, right? So I could have picked Spanish to do the survey, or I could pick French as a respondent to pick the survey. By default, Forms Pro looks at the browser's default setting for the language and then renders the survey in that. In my case, it was English, so it picked up English. But I could have actually changed to my language I'm comfortable and then submit the survey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to English and submit the survey. Right? Now, what you see here is that I submitted the survey, and then I got a code which I can go into the rewards portal to redeem myself for a monthly sweepstakes. So let me go back, right? So now that I'm a survey author, I sent out a survey, I've got responses. I really want to understand how do I look at some of the patterns with respect to the responses that I've got. So I'm going to pick a survey which has a lot of responses, and I'm going to choose what happened, right? For this particular survey, I sent out 144 invites. 108 people have responded. The sentiment seems to be OK, and the NPS is 18. So this is the high-level dashboard of what's available for me to get some of the high-level statistics, right? So I can click on the survey invites and look at each of the statuses. For example, Alex Wilbur, since I just responded, it tells that I was able to respond. Earlier, I sent an email to Adele. It looks like it failed because either the email address was wrong, or the domain doesn't exist, or it was a fake email that was given to me, right? And these 2 users, when the survey just was delivered successfully to their mailbox. So this way, I know how my users are getting engaged with the survey once I sent out, right? And when we land those capabilities of viewed, which means the user has viewed the survey, and started, which means the user has started to take the survey, I can actually monitor how people are engaging with the survey that I sent out. Also, what I can do is I click on the question-wise analysis to understand how people are responding to each of the survey questions aggregated by each of the questions. For example, I had a star rating question, right? And if you see that, these are all out-of-box reports that get generated based upon the survey question type. So the average rating that was given was 5-star. So if I pick 5-star, every respondent, or all the respondents, which are 45 in this case, who have given 5-star, I can actually go and figure out how did they respond to other questions. In this case, how did people go pick the rating and the recommendation answer? And there was a textual question at the end of the survey where people were actually entering comments, right? So what Forms Pro does is it creates a word cloud of frequently occurring phrases and creates a count about themes that are emerging. So that way, I don't have to spend time as a survey author to understand and go through each of these verbose text. I can just get emerging themes from here and be able to get some sort of statistics right from this experience. Also, what is available out of the box is being able to get some insights, all machine generated based upon the data. For example, for the NPS question, I actually have a view which tells me what are all the words which are positive feedback and all the words that are appearing for negative feedback. Okay, so it lets me do the sentiment analysis based upon the words for these two. Also, it does some associations with respect to people who have responded for question number 3. They seem to have provided a high quotient for question number 1. So it does some sort of statistical correlation between people who have responded. Right? So this is all out-of-box functionality I get when I start using using the insights for the response that I'm getting in. Now, as a business user, I could be the same person who created a survey, I got the responses back, and I'm pretty happy with what I've received. Right? But the second scenario that can happen is I'm really a customer service agent. Right? I'm a customer service agent working in, say, Dynamics 365. So what I'll do is I'll switch my hat and move into Dynamics 365 to explain about how this integration works with. So the product was shipped to Alex, and apparently it was defective. Right? So there was a support ticket logged, and I'm the support agent. And I looked at the support ticket and realized that, okay, Alex got a defective product. So now that the case is available for me, I'm going to resolve the case by sending him a replacement product. So I'm going to say replacement shipped. And I'm going to put 10 minutes because I just called up Alex and told him that, hey, I sold him a replacement, and I'm going to resolve this case. Right. So what you see here is on my activity timeline that I logged in as a customer service agent, I was able to go create an action. So behind the scenes, what can happen is if I was managing that contact and understand how is the user engaging with my experience with my phone call, I can click on the contact entity where, let me pick Alex Wilbur in this case, right? And look that
refresh.
Yeah.
While it's refreshing, I wanted to bring home the point of what we talked about integration and bringing that data back into the relevant areas where people are working. For example, if I'm a salesperson, I want to make sure that I have the history of what this person's bought in the past or how they responded to surveys. If I'm a customer service representative, I'm in my customer service solution. Hopefully it's Dynamics customer service. If not, it may be another competitor solution or a homegrown solution. I'm able to see not just what this person's done, but I have the history of their feedback, their sentiment, all of this right there where I'm working from, and while it's getting refreshed, you'll be able to see. That's where it truly brings the power of not just being able to send a survey, but taking it back and making it actionable in the areas that you're working without having to change systems, go through 10 different systems, and switch between tools and solutions. We've got 10 minutes.
Let me just go ahead and resolve it once more.
We've got 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right. There we go.
Okay. So I'll be able to actually look at what happened on this particular survey as the responses came in. Right. So I got the customer satisfaction survey, which was auto-triggered once the case was resolved. Right. I can actually click on the survey, go respond to how my experience has been. Loved the product that was replaced, and then submit it.
Perfect.
Right. Now I can go back into CRM.
Refresh.
Okay. So I'll be able to see the sentiment. So I think in the interest of time, I'll just quickly move forward, right? And if I was actually a site leader, that means I have a floor of customer service agents that are working, and I really want to understand how my pod is performing, right? So as a business leader for the site, what I will be able to, I'm interested in is how is my team contributing to an NPS? So what I am showing you is a out-of-box Power BI report that is shipped as part of Forms Pro, where as a business user that's responsible for my entire pod, I want to understand what are the factors that are contributing to the positive sentiment, right? What are the key phrases that people are giving which impact the positive sentiment? I want to also understand the agent's performance, like people who are really driving good NPS. What are their net new feedback from the customers, and also what are the employees who are getting bad feedback? What are their issues, which helps me either train them or let them focus on upskilling themselves to better serve the customers. And finally, I can actually get a view across with respect to tying in the survey data with business data to paint a picture of different accounts being served by my customer service agents. How are they performing? So the template is available for you to go blend the survey data with your business data and use it, right? So with that, what I'll do is I'll quickly switch back to.
So right now what Arjun showed was not just 3 templates out of the box, which showed you can actually look at the overall sentiment of what happened with the survey, but also look at from customer service rep perspective, which rep is performing, how, and you can upskill them, or even look at what is working, what's not, whether it's product related, it's service related, it's just in general, maybe shipping related. So you can go and unblock these things because you have all this information really handy and easy to review and capture without having to actually go through a lot of work or put an AI system into place.
Absolutely.
We're doing all that out of the box.
Yep. So bringing it all together, I think we just sent out a survey, we automated the business process, got the results back into CRM. So it's one end-to-end customer experience way of getting insights out of what data we got in, right? So that's what I just demoed. And I want to take a minute to talk about what were the features that came up in October. Some of the things that I already showed you, like survey incentives, Power BI template, being able to add survey variables, option to embed the survey within the email itself. And some of the things that are coming up pretty soon are being able to enhance survey translations, where with an Excel upload, you could be able to translate across multiple languages, capability to expire a survey based upon number of responses or a duration, and also an admin usage dashboard to understand how the product is getting used within an organization. So if you have specific scenarios and use cases that you want us to go engage with you and take the discussion forward, if you think that they're not in a roadmap, I recommend you to go to the user voice, which is accessible for, the link is there in the deck, but you can go to formspro.microsoft.com and ideas, and you'll be able to go log your feedback there, and somebody from the engineering team will definitely reach out to you. So with that, I'll actually hand it over to Jigisha to wrap up and provide some customer context.
So what you heard is us talking about what Forms Pro does, and I know we were running out of time, so Arjun kind of walked through all the new stuff that's coming. But essentially, in just last 2 months, we've done so much innovation, so much work's gone into it, and most of it has been our customers' feedback, our partners' feedback on saying, hey, this is a scenario, can you help us close that out? And we are absolutely here to listen, so do take your moment to provide it if you don't see it already, or it might be that this already exists. But that's just from the user perspective. We also have some really good sound bites from our customers and a video, really short one, but a beautiful one, which you'll see why I'm saying we'll want you to take a vacation. So, but from Panduit, they said with Forms Pro, we were able to create these surveys in minutes and instead of days that it took them. And Microsoft also uses right now Forms Pro, in fact, for everybody in the retail, and not just uses it for their learning. If you've ever gone to a Microsoft store and seen they actually have these training rooms, they get funding for that training room, depending on how those training sessions go or whatever. And based on the NPS that they get, the feedback that they actually get, they either get funded or their funding gets reduced. And so it's not just talking about doing these surveys and doing it, but based on the survey, businesses are making decision to either invest further or cut back or change things in there. Perfect example of looking at it end to end, how do we improve our business? And that's why when I call it out, I say it's customer business and experience improvement in general. And with that, I want to take just 2 minutes. It's worth it. You should, perfect. I want us to just watch this video from a customer of ours.
We judge everything in terms of customer perceived quality. The flights, the hotels, our staff performance, the service, the visibility, or areas and destinations. Everything is monitored from a customer quality perspective.
We're a travel company. We are one of Europe's biggest travel companies and part of the Dare Touristic Group. It's an online business, and customer feedback is extremely important because it tells us what the customer thinks is important.
We have been working with customer feedbacks for many years, and Microsoft Forms Pro together with Dynamics 365 really gives us a fantastic new way to do this.
On a sales side, we can see which customers value what. If they love the fact that it was close to the beach, we should only offer them products that are close to the beach, and we can get that information now.
And with Forms Pro and Dynamics, we can make sure that we ask each customer the right questions, because we can now branch the survey and the questions in the survey based on data from the customer and the booking record within Dynamics 365. And now we can do profanity detection with cognitive services. This helps us because we want to automatically publish all the customer comments directly on our website.
Now the intelligent data helps us to act on the right kind of customer feedback and to take action in the right spots within the customer journey.
What makes Forms Pro really fantastic is how easy it is to get going with. It's really plug and play, and how it integrates into Dynamics 365, so that you can base your survey on your Dynamics 365 data, how you can with Flow use the data you collect and run it through other applications, like for example cognitive services, and trigger the next process based on the feedback that you get from the respondent. And with Forms Pro, it's very much drag and drop. You can start from a template. We can define the template so it's always kind of right, but then you can amend it to your own needs. And with cognitive services, with the AI tools and the machine learning tools, we will be able to do fantastic things with our data.
I look forward to the next step, where the intelligence will help us to understand more about what the customers are asking us. We will use text analytics to find out the key areas within all the
Something got embedded.
Yeah, got glitch. Okay.
Go ahead. Just go to. It looks like network is not supporting us over here, but it's fine. We were at the end of it, but we won't, just on the interest of time. It is a beautiful one, which absolutely makes you want to do. And I think they did a great job of telling what our value prop is. Essentially is that you just don't send a survey. You actually enable and use that to drive your business further. Now, I know there's a lot, before we wrap up, I know we've got less than a minute, so I want to quickly walk through this. Looks like they pulled this out. One thing I've got a constant question is, how is it different? Do I need to buy Forms Pro? What does it mean to buy Forms Pro? First of all, Forms Pro is, you're buying capacity. You're not buying necessarily user. It's not a per user thing. It is, if you're a Dynamics customer today, an enterprise Dynamics customer with SKUs like Dynamics 365 Enterprise, with sales, not with sales, but customer service, with field service, with project, etc., you are getting 2,000 responses already seeded for you. So if you're already a Dynamics customer, go use it. It's free for you. Don't lose that opportunity. Try it out. Go ahead. Also, there's obviously a trial in market too for you to start up. For those companies where 2,000 responses a month is not enough, it's $100 for additional 2,000 responses. That's it for a month per tenant. It's not per user. It's per tenant. For office customers, they get forms free with E3. With this, they can same way they can do it. They don't get the 2,000 free, but you can still buy it. There's a different process on the buying. We made sure, again, how to buy. We made it super simple to understand how you can go in and use it if you're an O365 customer. And you can, because it comes with Flow and Power BI capabilities inbuilt into it, you don't have to necessarily look at that, at least from this solution perspective of purchasing. We will be around, but I want to make sure that we take our time. There's a lot of resources that you've got over here. And do not forget to send out a survey for us, our feedback as well. But we want to make sure that there's a product documentation. There's a link to try. Don't forget to try it out if you haven't already done that. And work with us, give us feedback, provide that feedback as you can. And while I'm at a time, so we have another one from our MVP tomorrow. If you have an opportunity to check it out, we are doing a hands-on kind of a session at the theater, so you can also see it in real life with him, with Jerry Weinstock. And please, please, please take a moment and respond to this survey. I wish I could say you get automatically entered into this survey thing, but it would really, we'd really appreciate if you can spend a little bit of time to provide us feedback on this.
Sure, and I'll be standing outside if you guys have any
we'll be right here at this side of the stage. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate your time.